Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling Review Series. Excited to be started this series just because, well, I don't have a great deal of knowledge of it, which means I get to watch new stuff, and also the wonder of it all. Anyway, there is a promo to start the show. Bad Leroy Brown and Jake Roberts are here. Also, one thing that you notice is that Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling really a tag team territory. Leroy Brown basically says he's ready to crack heads and move things along. Jake Roberts obviously says that he ready to get his hands again on Ole Anderson and anyone associated with Anderson, including Roddy Piper. I did not know that Jake Roberts and Roddy Piper had a previous feud. Austin Idol, who mainly is known more as a Tennessee, Alabama, kind of Memphis level guy, does get a run here in the Mid Atlantic, facing off against Scott McGhee. Austin Idol has a brilliant look for 1981. The bleached blonde, the long tights, whatever. Basic takedowns and other basic stuff, trying to get some ride time on McGhee. McGhee not exactly willing to take backward steps. They also grapple over things like a top wrist lock and other basic maneuvers here. Full Nelson and a good run there. Kind of see that Idol is less than, I wouldn't say less than friendly, but doesn't want to break holds, doesn't want to waste any time. The takedowns by McGhee. McGhee works over the leg for a bit there, trying to get leg submission, and Idol always finds a way back to his feet, even if there's cheating involved in the process. Hard shots along the way and basic maneuvers there. Ultimately, we kind of get a attempted takedown, basic maneuvers, and we kind of get body scissors by Idol. Idol working a slower pace than one can imagine. Idol still around in wrestling on the NWA years later, which I think is all these years later here in 2021. Cool to check out. Modified figure four leg lock by um, applied by Idol and trying to get the submission. Odd that the figure four is mentioned here because Ric Flair just won the World Championship for the first time, but Idol gets a victory there. Very competitive match. Then we move to a television championship match up next in our run here, which happens to be the benefit of, let's see here, obviously Ron Bass, your television champion, facing off against Jim Nelson. Nelson later becomes Boris Zukov, but he's not there yet. Needless to say, basic maneuvers. Ron Bass, your babyface, arm bars, arm locks, and the like. Doesn't waste a lot of motion. Takes the man back, tries to brawl with him a bit, tries to get some ride time. Nelson doesn't really look too good in the match in the sense that he takes the majority of punishment. He always does manage to fire back, and kind of a babyface deal because Nelson isn't really established one way or the other, so I would lean towards it being a babyface with the previous losses he's taken. He also does take a pretty good backdrop in the middle of the ring there and gets an abdominal stretch, kind of hooks up on him. I would advise anyone to be watching Mid Atlantic because I think it's just a very much a wrestling show that people can take seriously, doesn't insult intelligence. Finally, Nelson gets a little frustrated mid-match and actually throws a punch to the side of the temple of his opponent, kind of holding him in a headlock with the temple punch. And again, kind of seeing that turn into a bit of a brawl. Ron Bass not willing to take backward step from anybody, and then we managed to see the suplex followed by I guess you'd say, modified power slam. Bass getting the victory. We go off to Sergeant Slaughter in another match here. Sergeant Slaughter managing to get a match here with Frank Monty. More kind of go around for Slaughter. Slaughter gives Monty enough to make him look somewhat competitive, but takedowns, punch kick, very basic brawling, drives the knee into the spine on the reverse chin lock, tries to hook him up with the modified Cobra Clutch. Monty heads to the outside, doesn't really like the brawling that's taking place or any of the challenges that he feels he's having. Big backdrop. Second match with a backdrop in it, which we don't see backdrops hardly anymore in current day wrestling. You see them upon occasion, but you used to see them on every show, it appeared. But anyway, And then the Cobra Clutch finally hooked up for Slaughter. Slaughter gets a victory there. Scott McGhee talks about wanting to challenge for the World Championships. Also talks about the World Junior Heavyweight Championship. Thinks he's ready for that. Talks about being an international star. And congratulates Ric Flair for winning the World Heavyweight Championship, which is kind of classy, kind of cool. Then we go to a tag team match here. The Grappler and the Super Destroyer against their kind of, I guess you'd say, enhancement talent opponents here, which happens to be Ron Ritchie and Johnny Weaver. Weaver, not really enhancement talent, certainly had more going for him there, but is used as enhancement primarily here. Weaver kind of goes around and does more of a bit of a brawling thing. The Grappler comes in and manages to take his opponent to the back. The focus on tag teams is again predominant, as we mentioned in the first two episodes of the series. Both guys kind of grappling. Ron Ritchie trying to come back a little bit. Arm ringers, arm locks, and a couple of body slams. Missed timing on the elbow drop, and the Super Destroyer comes back in. Super Destroyer kind of takes back over, and the Super Destroyer and the Grappler are a dual masked tag team. The Super Destroyer hits a backbreaker partway through. The match itself breaks down into a bit of a lie when you see that the Grappler and the Super Destroyer change places. This is something that Jake Roberts comes out to complain about, complaining to the referee, actually caring about rules. What a novel concept anyway. Grappler and Destroyer both cut a promo basically saying that they don't care one way or the other. Ole Anderson says guys like Jake Roberts and Ricky Steamboat need to be run out of town. Their interference in other people's business needs to stop, and Anderson is such a believable promo. That's where Arn gets it from, but just interesting there. Your last match of the day, Ricky Harris and Mike Miller against Jake Roberts and Bad Leroy Brown, kind of continuing the foray there, and again, kind of getting things going in a direction where, okay, I would say Roberts is the featured talent in this position, although it's not as though Leroy Brown doesn't have a feature point. Obviously, Ron Harris becomes Black Bart. Mike Miller, not a guy who does a heck of a lot. Roberts takes him down and watches as he makes some mistakes. Harris comes back in. Roberts moves with such fluidity, whether it's basic stuff like body slams or something like that, or just placing a guy where he wants him, getting the most out of moves. Leroy Brown comes in, hammer locks, basic stuff, more punch kick style, big guy in big African American fellow in some overalls, and manages to kind of do the country gimmick a little bit. Not that familiar with Leroy Brown, probably should be from a historical standpoint, but anyway, there is a win that comes. Roberts gets a short knee on his adversaries here. There is a promo, Mr. Harris comes out in the middle and tries to interrupt the promo of Jim Nelson. Nelson says that he deserves another shot at the television championship. Harris and his partner are not happy with challenges that are there, and again, you kind of see a little bit more of the brawling run. Then we kind of run to the kind of a go back there. Ole Anderson, and going at it with Jay Youngblood in a singles match. The Grappler out with that. Jay Youngblood obviously, has a lot of ability to sell, get sympathy. Fighting right back with Anderson. Anderson does a brilliant job of backing off, but always coming back as a fighter. And the Grappler, who is out there double teaming on, or causing a disqualification victory for Youngblood, double teaming on Youngblood is Anderson and the Grappler, and they continue going round and round, all the way around, and ultimately getting a good bit of aggression out there. And then you kind of see, babyfaces run out to close the show. So the continuation of babyfaces needing to save each other and heels being dastardly, going all the way back 40 years, it happens. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.